If you're ready to break the cycle, build real wealth, and set your family up for life, you're in the right place. We are going to dive into 5 key principles for building generational wealth. The kind of wealth that doesn't just change your life, but transforms not only you, but your next generation. We're diving into something deeper than just getting rich. Because it isn't about having money just for show. It's about making the moves that set your children and their kids, and then their kids up for living a free, fulfilling life. If you're serious about breaking the cycles and building something that lasts, you're in the right place. So let's break down some of the different elements that goes into generational wealth. Well, the first one comes to owning assets, not just the income. You see, when we talk about the different income streams that are coming from some of the assets, that's a big piece of it. And when we start with these basics, see, building that generational wealth comes with assets. And you probably already know this, so that's something that now we can be looking to make sure that you are set up correctly so that we can be working on how to make those assets last not your lifetime, but for your children. And then because we're not just looking at the income, we're looking at the different elements that come outside of that income and that paycheck. But don't get me wrong, earnings is important, especially from some of these assets. But if your money stops the moment you stop working, that's not wealth, that's just survival. So wealth starts with ownership. So the assets over liabilities, and whether it's real estate, stocks, and your business, you want to own the things that grow in value. And don't just work for the money, make your money work for you. So start with what you can control. So I talked about this before, the real estate is a piece of that because now you can have something that can be appreciating over time. Stocks are another piece of that. Bonds, the different types of investments that you can work with them, those can pay dividends and those can earn income and they can also appreciate. But that's where we come back to your business as well, that you have different ways that you can be earning income from not only one business, but maybe even multiple. And your retirement accounts. Because as you grow those can be passed on as well. So owning things that grow in value over time can be a great way to pass down generational wealth. And even small properties today can be paid off. They can have those assets that fund college or retirement later, and that can be the foundation of a great start to your overall wealth plan that you're building brick by brick. So you don't need millions to start, you just need the mindset. Now, second element then is to invest early and consistently. Now here's the fact, the earlier you start, the less money you need in the long run. Now why is that? Well, we've talked before, the power of compound interest, and that is the big deal here. We call this the compound beast. I can't stress this often enough. The timing the market, beating the market is one element that's hard to do. But when we start early, whether it is with the stock market, the real estate market, and even the market that your business is in, the more time that your money has to grow, the better. So we don't have to invest $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 per month, or even as little as $500 or $200 a month. You see, we can get going, and when we have 25, 35, 45 years, 55 years to get built up, we can do things that others are unable just because of the compounding and the time that's there. So you can double your investment easier just because of the time. So that's how we can have more in your retirement accounts. But if you're not investing thousands, what can you do now? And that's what we want to be talking about as well. You see, we can be passing down those financial education. That's our number 3 element here. That generational wealth isn't just about money. It's about the mindset. It's about teaching your children about savings, about investment, about entrepreneurship. And the more they know, the better. Now, we've all heard stories of people inheriting wealth and blowing it in a few years because no one taught them how money actually works. And I have actually worked with many families that have been in this situation where we talk about the different details that they're actually scared to give wealth to their children because they know it is going to be blown. Well, yes, we can provide some protection with the different trusts and different elements that we can put some provisions in there so that they cannot blow it. But what if we start with financial literacy and how to really work with money? That is how we can be teaching our children properly. So how credit works, how to save and invest, and how to avoid debt traps. And then help them build something on their own. Get them accountability. And when we take a look at some of the studies out there, 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation and 90% by the third. And that is a wake-up call. So let's break this cycle and help your children survive and thrive. Now, number 4, protect what you build. You see, you've worked hard, now protect it. That means having life insurance, having a trust in place and the correct estate plans so that your money goes to the intended people at the correct time. And then we want to be success planning. You know, when it comes to different elements that we're looking at for how to grow, it's one thing, but let's plan with all these different elements, the success of it as well. And then how do we use, say, your business and using that as part of passing on? Well, we can be building up your kids and your grandkids to be taking over. So not only success planning, succession planning. Well, we can then use smart tax strategies to avoid overpaying on taxes and making sure that you pay what you need to do and then avoid paying what you don't. And see, that's what most people skip because no one really likes talking about all these different elements of passing on their wealth and dealing with death and the legal stuff. But you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for your family. And in fact, the right legal and financial framework in place so that your wealth doesn't get eaten by taxes, probate fees, legal battles, and everything else. Now, because you have wealth, you prioritize this stuff. I understand that. And that's not optional. It's a strategy. Well, number 5 then, think generations ahead. So like we've been talking about, this principle is probably the most important here because you cannot take your money into the grave with you. And you can be building it up, we can be doing a great job, but if we don't have the ability to pass it on and pass it on well, then that's not something that's going to last. So we need to play the long game. And too often it's about the years and just trying to get through the years. But what if we started to think about 30, 50, 100 years ahead? And what if you became an ancestor who changed the course of your family's future? So that's where, when you start building generational wealth, that's what it looks like. You can be the one. And when you build a family trust, when you create your business that your kids can inherit, when you buy properties in areas that are going to appreciate, you're setting your family up for investment that is in their future. So that's what wealthy families do. They plan for decades in advance. They move a little differently. Now, if you've made it this far, you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about your legacy, and that's powerful because breaking the cycle takes vision, it takes strategy, it takes courage. So let's start right now with you. Let's recap. We need to own assets. We need to start early, pass on your knowledge, protect what you build, and then think generations ahead. Those are great elements to help make your wealth last for many generations. But it's about choices too. And the best time to start was yesterday, but the next best time is right now. So if this video gave you value, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more notifications, and we have more coming in the weeks ahead. So you can definitely reach out to us and we can help you with building your legacy and what's important to you.